Hey, Steph, just getting set up. Hey, Steve. Hey, Mindy. Let's get these new people in here quickly. Hey, Joanne. Hey, Nancy. Albert, you're not supposed to be watching. You're supposed to be attending. Hey, David. Hey, Shanna. We're just getting set up, waiting for everybody to get in here, all the hosts and coaches and all that great stuff. So bear with us. I got all excited. I just saw an email from the Small Business Association thinking, administration thinking it was the loan coming through. It said, your loan is still being processed. Lucky me. Hey, Nance. Nancy, set up an appointment for the beginning of next week so we can wrap up your site and everything, if you can hear me. James, are you joining us this evening or are you with the kids and just observing? The salon guy, Steve, what's up, man? I think it's time to change up the background for tonight.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Yeah, I was like, what's he doing on there? Get on here, you.
Oh God, what's going on?
I'm playing with backgrounds. I got the Northern Lights on.
I officially put an actual real green screen. You don't have a green screen behind you, right?
Oh, no, I have the virtual.
This, I'm telling you, the real green screen is fantastic, man.
I have one. It's just such a pain in the ass that,
Yeah.
put the pole. put the polls up, drop the screen. The virtual one works okay. I got news for you. I think I'm going to leave this Northern Light ones. I like this. Kind of animated, kind of cool.
Little Iceland action.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, look. The better half is watching us. Your wife. Uh-oh, you're in the doghouse.
Well, it's even funnier because I'm on Facebook right now, and I signed in from my phone and then from my actual Facebook, and I'm actually on an old call, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not wearing that shirt. Can't make this stuff up.
Let's see how many of the gang joins us tonight. Hey, Gail. How was your day with dealing with the loans? Nightmare?
Oh my God. Well, they're changing I jokingly said to Nikki and Iva, I said, when you come on, we can talk about PPP only for the first 10 or 15 minutes, and then it has to go back to another call.
I can't anymore because I'm ready to, honestly, between dealing with it personally and then watching how people are fighting with each other on the board, I'm ready to delete every comment on it, to be honest with you.
Well,
because it's like, my feeling on this is you do you, I'll do me, but don't get snippy about it, right? Like I can't believe people are actually getting nasty with each other over this stuff. I understand everybody's frustrated. We all have a right to be frustrated, but geez, put your big girl panties on and put a lid on it.
well, they keep changing the rules, and now apparently there's another set of rules coming out. But I have to send it to Nikki. She probably has it, but SBA came out with like an 8-page forgiveness calculator. But
Yeah,
now
and they're every day. Like I have owners that are sending the money back because they're afraid they're not opening for a few months. Fuck no, don't send that money back. Because guess what? They'll spend it on somebody else and you'll never get it again.
yeah, no, that's
My lawyer has the best saying in the world. Do it first and ask for forgiveness afterwards.
yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It just, man, if they wanted to make it hard to figure out guidelines, woof.
Oh, well, that's the government, right? If you get the government involved in anything, it's going to get mucked up. I'll tell you, obviously, I feel bad for us in California. And I think Illinois just came out today, too, and said they're not opening for 3 months like California did and our crazy governor. But Connecticut just got slammed today, too. They were supposed to open in 2 days, and the governor came out at the last minute and said, oh, no, sorry. Just kidding.
But that's the thing, is 2 days notice. Like, what are we doing? Why 2 days? And listen, whatever your opinion is on open, don't open, safety wise or whatever. But man, 2 days notice.
But have a date, let people prepare for the date, and shut the fuck up. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, well, you figure. Imagine this, right? If I said, "Hey, Derek, I'm the IRS and I'm going to audit you," and you're like, "Okay, fine, I have my records and I can do it, but I'm going to do it like tomorrow." Like, give me something to work with.
We're going to put the Andrew bandana on and rob banks. That's what we're going to do.
Hey there.
We're just bitching and moaning here, Andrew.
What is that?
We're bitching and moaning about people fighting with each other and the government just being all messed up. So,
Bitching and moaning, huh? Okay.
yeah, what else are you going to do?
We do it so
You
well,
haven't-
Andrew.
You haven't heard this saying yet, right? That if a Marine isn't bitching, he's not happy.
No. You guys are just being BMWs, right?
Yeah, right. So
Bitches,
I don't know if you
moaners and whiners.
I don't know if you heard today, Andrew, but Illinois just came out and said they're pushing it 3 months. Our crazy governor is thinking about 3 months. And then Connecticut just jumped on board today. They were supposed to open in 2 days. It said, oh, no, we changed our mind. So all those owners preparing and sending out messages, I really feel bad for
these guys they are cruising for a bruising.
Yeah.
Big one.
Let me tell you, if we go 3 months, People say 3 months. There'll be riots in the street.
I don't understand what the justification is. Where are they coming up with their wazoo crazy justification for all this?
Well, you know why. Guess
I
what's in a few months? Elections.
well, I know
Because they don't
why.
give a shit about the
I
business.
didn't. They don't care about people. These guys.
No, no.
Not one rat's ass about anyone's safety. That's such bullshit.
Our governor in New Jersey came out the other day and somebody questioned him. He said, if you don't like it, move to another state. What the hell kind of attitude is that?
Listen, the coronavirus ruined my backup plan. I was going to go move to Italy. I was going to just get out of here, and there's plenty of. They would let. My joke is I'm going to open a salon called Americanos in Italy, and
Go.
have a line around the building.
Go. They're fine. They're cool.
Yes, Michaeline, yes, James is a Green Circle Salon.
I mean, there is no, besides their own nonsense, where's the rationalization? What are the numbers showing? Where's the data?
Yeah.
Well, if they
There
gave
is-
you some information at least, and they said, "Hey, this is what we're looking at, and this is
It's
why."
it's flat out tyranny. That's what it is. This is a fight, and anyone who believes it otherwise, this is a fight for our freedom.
Mhm.
Flat out tyranny. Liberty versus tyranny.
My point is, if you're on the side of, okay, yes, we should be closed for safety, that's great, fine.
That's fine.
But let everybody do themselves, right? Because some people have families to support and they have to get open or they lose their business. And you know what it comes down to is nobody should be able to tell you what you can do and what you can't do as a person in the United States. You know, being open or not being open. And that's on a Republican. And don't say Republican, Democrat. They're all
No, it's-
bullshit. They're all bullshit. What
It's
we
not.
need in this country is a complete overhaul of our system.
Well, it is a liberty versus tyranny thing, and
Yeah.
these governors are being tyrannical. They're being dictatorial, and you know they will be sued, but that's not germane. And
Yeah.
we have very little recourse besides just to disregard them.
James, if you need Michaeline's info, I coach her, so I'll get you the info.
Yeah, I think I actually have Michaeline's info from some of our classes.
Upstate New York, Capital District, Phase 1 may open 24 to 48 hours. Just came out 8 minutes ago. Well,
Oh,
that's good news.
yeah.
That's smart.
Hold on, let me see. James, I think your mic's getting a little bit of feedback. Yeah, it's definitely your mic.
Let me see.
There you go.
Good.
Except now I can't hear you.
Let me move it closer. Might be my kids.
There you go. Let's
Yeah,
see.
well,
Let's
you know,
see.
even that, Andrew, 24 to 40 hours for upstate New York. How far upstate? Because, you know, where we are in Bergen County,
Albany.
Rockland, well, I mean,
Yeah.
Albany's a little bit farther, but like Rockland County or Westchester's not so far from us.
That's
So
not. No, they're not opening.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Hey guys, should I just open everybody up to a panelist tonight?
Albany and seven. It
Yeah.
is Albany seven counties. Yeah.
You guys want to do this open forum style and just open everybody?
Sure.
On
Yeah.
this?
Let's do it.
I got to go, unfortunately, one by one to do that, but I'm
Okay.
going to do that.
Let us go there. Let us lead the charge.
Ivor, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, do you see my name on the bottom of my Zoom?
Unmute.
Oh,
Start
you
it.
asshole. You're such a jerk.
I tried so hard on the call today, on Fallon's call.
Yeah, see?
My joke was I was the one that asked about Gino. And then I tried, my last question was, can you just repeat Iva's email address again? I thought they were going to answer that.
Such a jerk. I'm going to get you a t-shirt made with my email out
Where's the
on it.
box?
I'm just get it tattooed on me when this is all over. It'll be fun.
There you go. That's it. That's it. Oh, hello.
Mary, you
Philip.
look so different.
There. He looks
We're
so
trying to do
beautiful. Look at
Oh,
Mary.
well,
Oh, Mary. Whoa.
Philip.
Philip, move out of the way. What are you doing?
Okay, now we need somebody to hold that up. Would you do it with your hand?
What am I, dog meat? JD.
What's
So
up,
now
buddy?
we got everybody in here. One big
What's
happy
up?
family.
Okay, do the backdrop. Now,
It's not doing it for you. Listen, this
No.
is in Venice, and there's this guy playing guitar behind me who reminds me of you. I can't find my finger. There's a little parrot somewhere over
A,
here.
a little
where?
parrot.
Parrot. Oh, yeah, that reminds me of Philip, too.
Wait a minute.
A little parrot. Philip
Where?
took a cool picture yesterday.
the same
of Palm
flip-flops
Springs.
on as you, look.
Oh, yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool.
So
Okay.
what's
Soda water.
happening out there what's going out in the desert? What's happening with you guys? How are things?
Well, the wind is blowing.
It is actually. Oh,
It's
so
hot.
glowing.
It's not as hot. Oh, that's good. Is that good? Are we in the picture now finally?
Oh, God.
The Bobcats are out.
A little inauthentic petting.
A what, Penny?
Inauthentic.
Thank you, darling. So what's happening, cats?
Let's see who else on here. I was on here. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, we're live on Facebook.
We are.
What's your
We
piece of
are.
news?
No swearing, Derek.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Fuck if I know.
Okay, guys.
Okay, guys, that's right.
Oh, yeah,
We are
whatever.
not- look at
Yeah,
Oh,
but
man.
here's the-
Oh,
we have the
man.
Buddha
Oh,
sitting
man.
back there.
Oh, come on, Andrew. You
Oh,
in
hey.
church?
Oh,
What's going
Mr.
on?
So damn innocent.
They're
Andrew, you're
closed.
I'm a baby.
They are closed.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Apparently, not all churches were closed last weekend, which is frightening. To me.
Yes, true.
No, some were open. Yeah.
Ivor, honey.
She's got pink hair.
Yes, darling. Hello.
So Oscar is
Hi.
Um,
So let me bump the rest of
Andrew, see the hat?
I see the hat.
Yes.
Cool.
What's the dog doing?
Trying to get on your lap, I think.
Django, what do you want?
Here we go.
Hello.
He really wants to
There
sit
we
with
go.
Nikki,
there she is. Hello.
Hi. Hi, everyone. You guys got it?
Oscar's on
All right, I gotta go on
summer
this Zoom,
camp.
okay?
Oscar is in there somewhere.
There he is.
Hi, Cindy. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Sheila.
So it's our ninja there.
It's gonna be fun
What you
tonight.
wearing
Just
on
like
your
a-
head? Walla? Your Walla? What does that say? Our walls. Our walls.
What are you, blind? What's yours
Pretty much
say?
so.
Yeah, I hang out in weird places. Yeah.
This is
Honor
honor
the
and struggle.
Struggle.
The struggle. This is-
Wilson Collective.
I thought it said color proof.
Oh, what's this? Oh, yeah, look. Whoa, sorry. Sorry.
It's going to be a long
Who is?
Whoa.
Whoa.
What is happening?
Coverage.
So we are doing open mic night tonight.
Open mic.
If you have a noisy mic,
This is the
like
worst.
Philip,
I'm terrible at technology.
Yes.
or if you have a noisy Philip, mute yourself.
You probably should.
Yeah, you mute yourself.
You need me on here to put some life into it.
If he doesn't stop the
Oh,
swear, I'm gonna have
oh,
to
is
get
it-
my headphones
oh,
and go on my phone and go somewhere else. Yeah. So I'm not associated with this one. Hi, Nikki.
Hi.
Those are cute glasses.
Thank you. I like yours too.
Thanks. She's talking to me.
So
Nikki loves mine.
did you open? What's the deal?
No, we did not open. We got pushed back to May 29th.
Oh, you got pushed back.
Wow.
Yep.
That's-
I'm ready to just go ahead and open up and like let them throw me in jail.
Nikki, that's crazy. I'm in Newport News, and they let us open.
I know. The rest
So
of Virginia got open.
So you're
Apparently just
open,
Prince
Tim.
William County, just the county that we're in Fairfax County, the two counties side by side.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
Which I don't even know.
Sorry.
Somebody can go 20 minutes down the road to a salon in Stafford and get it done. And then, you know, I don't know. Wow. I don't know.
That's unbelievable.
Let's just open and take a chance. We'll go to jail together.
That's well done.
It is what it is.
Has
So
gotten
look.
$500,000 in.
Looks like you're cutting my hair.
Oh my gosh, Oscar.
I want to pick.
Get it, Phil. Do the Wilson method on the Phil. Get it in there, buddy.
Wait,
Did you get it? Oh, you got a picture. Oh,
Hey,
James,
who's he?
haircut.
Hey, Nikki,
Yes.
look at James. Look what James has on his.
Wait, look.
Let me see.
Can you see what's on his frame?
Go ahead,
It's
Phil.
so funny.
No. You mean
It's
Philip
my
Wilson
dance
cutting hair?
program. No,
Listen,
look at
Phil,
the
it's been
bottom.
so long.
Funny.
It's
That
been
is
so
funny.
long. I
Oh,
went
shut
three
up.
combs. 3 combs, not 2. I went 3.
Oh, that's attractive.
That is too funny.
Hey, James, you should have turned your camera off for a second, brush your hair real quick, flip it back on like boom.
Look at all the.
That is too funny.
That is so
That's
funny.
all right.
Having a little bit of fun with it. We'll get started in 5 minutes.
What do you want? What do you
Wait,
want?
it looks like Phil's giving me a massage, Mary. Be careful. Look. Oh, Phil.
Stop it.
Get the
Oh,
shoulder,
no,
Phil.
no, no. Do it again. Do it again.
Oh, honey.
You better stop there.
Oh, yeah.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Oh, wait. Everybody got to halt. Nicole and Charles open today for the first day. How did it go, guys?
We made it. It went really good.
Yes.
It went really
So
good.
good meaning.
Survived.
It was.
People, tell us about it.
You guys, Christine Zielinski needs the password to get on. Can someone send it to her? You want me to send it to her?
B.
It was.
Capital B.
BBR.
Yeah, capitals. All caps.
That's good. It's 8 o'clock and you're home.
Yeah, we're still in the salon, but we just finished. But we only did. So we have a really small. We have a small like studio salon. We employ there's 14 of us all together. So to open, we can only open at 25% off. So to do that, we can only have like 3 stylists operating at a time. So we rented a vacant space that's 2 doors down from us. We just worked out something with our landlord and we put a pop-up shop there and just worked back and forth between the 2 spaces. So we can work on entire staff for 8 hours every day.
Wow.
That's so smart.
Yeah, well, it just worked out so much nicer because so much of what, I didn't feel right about saying, okay, 4 of you be here for the day and try and manage temperature takes and, logging all of that and getting consent forms. And I just didn't feel like we would have any employees left after a few weeks in, so it worked unbelievably well. It was so smooth. The clients loved it. I mean, we made the pop-up shop really like kind of cute. We put paper on the walls and people chalk drew all over it, and
That's cool.
it worked.
That's cool.
Shop.
Yeah,
So
very
cool.
cool.
Yeah, so yeah, we survived.
We did survive.
It's hotter. The mask is not that's not a fun thing. It's not fun. Like this is hot and miserable and itchy, and you want to keep touching it because it's driving you, like you feel like you're suffocating. You know? It's all good.
You guys did a cute job with the space, though. You should post that video of your walkthrough going in, because even the wood in the second space came out killer.
Oh, thanks.
Was it fake?
Yeah, that was there.
The wood in the second space was there. We just tried to make it, you know, and then like everywhere we had pictures hung, we're not allowed to put anything permanent. Like, so we just, anything that was hung is hung on an existing nail. It's like craziness. It worked out though. I don't know. It's kind of nutty.
That's so cool.
Nicole, where are you located?
We're located in St. Louis, Missouri.
Cool.
Hey guys, can someone let Patty Mead in to the panel?
Yeah, so it was good. We got with Derek on Saturday and got on Salon Ops, and I've spent every waking moment getting that stuff working and just kind of learning that system, and it's on point. Really good. I mean, once we got stuff going the way that it was supposed to go, we had multiple, like we sent out the same text over and over a few times just because we didn't think it was working, but we were able to do our consent forms through there. I did a video this morning, like of my video of me driving my car, like what it would be like for the client. So you're driving your car, you're parking, what you need to do after you park the car, what needs to happen at that point so that they would know exactly what to do. They need to wait in the car and so it was fun. I mean, we just tried to make it fun. You know, it's like a kid that you want to do something that isn't fun, and you just have to trick them.
Your form looked fantastic.
I think it's really fun. So, thank you. Did the video work on the second one I sent you, James?
Well done.
Thank you.
It worked fantastic.
Okay, good. We did an Instagram live.
I gotta say,
He's cutting out. I can't.
What did you say, Derek?
I didn't hear
You're
you.
cutting out.
I didn't hear you.
Your form and everything was just amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, your system's pretty amazing. Like what it does, I was like, this is so nice. It has all these cool little features in it. And the videos helped tremendously because I could just keep going back and forth. I just had two computers open. I'd watch a little of the video and then I'd just do that part of it. So that was super helpful.
Thank you. If anybody's wondering what we're talking about, Nicole jumped on, I think it was Saturday, Nicole and Charles jumped on. And, they joined the Salon Ninja platform, and they had a cool idea of doing their COVID consent forms through an automated process with our system, and they just came out like crazy good, and it's just rock star stuff she's doing. And honestly, for you jumping in the platform that quick, the both of you, I was like, damn, you really nailed it.
It was all Nicole. I had nothing to do with it.
I haven't slept much. I just been awake, and you know, mostly I don't even know what, I don't really know what kind of diet. I don't really know what's happening. I'm just kind of doing what we got to do.
For you guys on the call, Nicole and Charles are pretty good friends of ours. The more important thing is, besides opening their salon, they had two grandbabies back to back, not twins, right? Like
Not
two,
twins.
like within how many days? 3 days?
Friday, and so we found out we could reopen a week ago Friday. Had our second grandbaby, but the first of the two, Friday night. And then on Monday had the second grandbaby as well. So
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We were keeping our 3-year-old granddaughter while her mom and dad were in the hospital. So we had 3 days with the 3-year-old. I was like, I've never been bossed around so much in my life and not been able to complete a thought, because you're trying to get open. You got a million things going on. So yeah, we feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a free person. We made it. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's going to be okay, but it's okay right now. So we're going to celebrate that for a minute.
Hey, did you kids have any pushback from clients at all today?
You know, we had one guy, it was like one of the very first clients, one of my employees had this guy come in and he didn't want to wear a mask, you know, and he said it goes against everything he believes in. And I said, well, St. Louis County believes in something different, so you have to wear a mask if you want to come in. So, and after that, nothing else. He was fine with it after that, and then nobody else had any issues whatsoever.
People were really good. And I mean, I'm so pleased. We have gotten nothing but like fantastic reviews, and somebody just posted on our Facebook page, like, I can't believe the lengths you went through to keep us safe. And that's what it was about for me. It's like, whether you believe it, don't believe it. I mean, I have days where I go back and forth. I don't even know, you know, we very luckily do not know one person that's been affected. So it's hard sometimes when you have no direct, you're like, is this real? Like, I think it is, I hear it is, but you have days where you're just kind of like, I don't know. But I don't care. I would much rather have my people talking about how over the top we were to keep them safe than have anybody say we didn't do what we could have done, you know? So it's been, I can't believe how well, like it was really smooth.
Nicole, what was the feedback on the form you're getting when you're sending it to people?
It was
Just out of
interesting.
curiosity.
Yeah, I was expecting that we would hear something like somebody wouldn't want to sign it. Everybody did it. Not even, I mean, maybe because they got it like 4 times because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And then all of a sudden I looked at the message thread and I was like, well, we've sent that to that person 6 times. So,
You didn't have to give him you didn't have to give him a Johnny Fontaine. You didn't have to give him any Johnny Fontaine rules. Like, hey, listen, it's either
Maybe that's the way to do it.
You know, I think it was just, it said fill out this form that's required for your appointment. So there was no.
Do you mind if I share it, Nicole?
Not at all. You can definitely share any of it.
I'll pop it up now so everybody can see what we're talking about. So this is the form that they created for their clients inside of Salon Ninja. So they put all their consents on the one side and then have a consent check off on the other side. And it's an automated system. So when the client fills this out, it automatically gets stored in Salon Ninja and protects you. It also has a thank you page, a second half, which is a thank you page. After they fill it out, they then get a thank you page. I'll show you their thank you page, which was pretty cool stuff also. I think you did a wonderful job on this.
Thank you. I mean, I really do feel like the system, it's got so many things to offer, but it was really, once I felt like I could navigate it pretty well.
That's a wonderful thank you page. Wow.
Thanks.
Yeah, you did an awesome job, especially learning the platform on Saturday and then going live with it right away. I mean, you nailed it. So
Thank
good
you.
stuff.
I had a few moments last night. I think it took until about 9:30 before I finally realized it was officially working. And I was like, I probably said more than a few choice words, like at the computer. I was like, why aren't you working? Like, what's going on? But yeah, I mean, it's not, I don't know. Once it works, then you don't care anymore. You're like, okay, well, it's working. So that's good. So I
you're
still want to
also
mess with
sending
it a
out
little
the
bit.
other one that you
sign.
Nicole, the second
hear
step,
that,
are you
sorry.
sending out
Yeah.
that one with the text? Are you sending the one out with the text messages immediately following that? Or what's the order you're sending
No,
it in?
so it goes, the way I had it set up initially was the campaign is that one form, because I was like, I don't have time to get everything else together. So I did that one first. Then today when I came in, I did the, hey, this is what to do when you arrive for your appointment with the video, like the YouTube video, put that on there. That's on there. And then what I think I'll do though is add that as the second step to the campaign and just have it, send out whatever the next morning. So the day of their appointment, then they would just get that one.
Exactly, and then send the other one out with the trigger the day of their appointment. And this way, I noticed you put the text link in there to text us when you're here. So
Yeah,
beautiful campaign. Really is.
Thanks. And then my last one I want to do, I want to take and still then put one more piece of it in that'll send them like the $25, like an online $25 gift card to be used later. And then it'll just all go and I don't have to keep revisiting, like going back to that tag. Because basically the way we did it is we tagged the client with their appointment date. I didn't know how else to make it work, you know, that it could go the day before the appointment.
Then you can grab that date range and send out the $25 coupon. So
Right. So
beautiful, beautiful. Tina, love the background. Oscar's going through backgrounds one after another over there.
Nicole, may I ask how you handle pricing?
well, we raised everyone's prices 15%, like we were advised. We didn't do any blow dries. We offered only express services. So we had a whole separate menu for at least these first 2 weeks because we're not doing any blow dries and we didn't know how we were going to be able to function fully. Like we just didn't know how it would go. So we have express cut, express color and cut. And we lumped, like we did packages, which we don't normally, we would a lot of times, you know, we would never put like a color and cut into one price point, but we just did it to make it easy. And then it's all labeled in a category called COVID. So when you go to check the person out, they click on COVID, there's only X amount of options. We did the like express foil work, but then we did an express plus because we know there's going to be those clients that really push and you know you're going to end up doing more on them. And so we priced it that way. And yeah, we raised everything 15% across the board and just went with it. We didn't make any apologies. I had somebody say, are you going to, you know, is my price going to be less because of the fact that you're not blowing dry? And I said, actually, we have a price increase due to the expense of getting reopened. I mean, it was $10,000 to reopen. I mean, it's not been cheap, you know? You got to buy all this crazy, you know, censored hand sanitizer. I had $1,000 in hand sanitizer dispensers. I'm like, this is insanity, you know? So I really, and then the girl's response was really great. And it made me feel good because she said, oh, thank you so much for explaining that to me. So I think that that's a big part of it. If you're really transparent with people and you take the time to explain it in a way, like I told my staff, I can explain it to a client and say, this is why it has to be this way. The thing that is going to wreck us is if you're short with people or if you're flip with people and you're just kind of like, you know, it has to be this way because it's so expensive to reopen. And like they should know. They don't know. Now, I had to also feel like when they came into our salon, it absolutely mirrored what we were saying. And it did. Because when they walked into our space, we would normally have 9 chairs in the first half of our salon. And when they walked in, we had 2. So they could see a very obvious difference. So, not one.
So let me jump on here for a second. We've got a lot of people on Facebook Live and a lot of people in the group. A lot of us are coaches here, but for all of you that aren't coaches, just that you are a salon owner, you're struggling or have any questions, by all means, get them out right now. Tonight's an open mic, so all of your business questions are on the board. There's no specific topic. You just either post them out or unmute yourself, ask the question, and I'm sure somebody in here will have the answer for you. So don't be shy. Let's get the party rolling.
Hey, Derek, can I comment on Nicole? Oops. Sorry, James.
Wait, I'm sorry. Oh, that's okay. It's an easy one. I know you guys are blue, but your website is blueacolorsalon.com?
Correct. Blue color. It's blue color. The A is not in there. So it's blue, BLU, colorsalon.com.
Thank you.
Got it.
So I just wanted to comment on what Nicole was saying. Nicole, I'm loving your whole vibe. We're doing very similar. We're doing a complete new menu. And, you know, as my leadership team said, you know, when it comes to clients coming back and second guessing price increases and are they COVID care charges, are they additional this and additional that, you know, we were hesitant to put a COVID care. We just wanted to raise the prices and just let it be at that so that we wouldn't have to roll them back if COVID went away. But we ended up doing the same thing, creating a new menu which really empowered my team because they felt very invested in the new offer. And as one of my managers really joined the vibe, which was very powerful because, you know, it's always coming from me, but coming from a peer helps. And she said, you know, we're just going to be very honest with the client. And when they're going to say, how much is something going to cost? You know, she's going to say, well, this is our new offering. This is our new menu. You know, there's no other options. Like, this is the menu. And we have X, Y, and Z. And, you know, and I love something that Samvia said, you know, when people question the blow dry. And Sam said, you know, I thought it was fantastic. He goes, you know, you've always blow dried my hair. Am I paying less now? And he said, the blow dry has always been free.
That's what
The
we
blow
said.
dry's always been free. Yeah. The blow dry was just part because we were there, but the haircut's what you've always been paying for. You know, and the mindset, just living that mindset is so powerful. So, you know, when you said about, you know, explaining and getting caught up in that, I just always go back to that define, not defend. You know, just define your position and not defend what you're doing, or don't feel that your guilt is going to make you talk too much, because you need to stop talking. You need to just be honest and have it just be clear, be kind. And when you say it, I always say, lower your voice and speak slower. When I coach and train on that, it's so true, because if you go to that high inflection, that's you doubting yourself, and the energy is projecting as doubt. So when you're stating something like that to a team member or to a client, speaking slower and speaking lower gives you much more understanding and much more well-received approach. So when clients are doubting, they're going to feel your doubt, you know, so training your team on that and getting them invested in knowing that it's okay, you know, and a lot of them now, they're really seeing that production's going to be a lot less. You're not going to be able to do 10 clients in a day.
Hey, Patty.
So you got to make those
Patty,
clients work.
I have a question for you, Patty. Do you use your hands just as much when you talk slow and low, like
Absolutely.
Jersey? So
And it's going to be very hard for me to not touch people, because I touch people when I talk all the time. I'm very, very fluid with my hands. So,
you're gonna wrap your,
you know,
you're gonna
it's,
wrap your hands. Like you're gonna be
yes,
like
I'm going
Edward
to have to
Scissorhands.
have
You're gonna
like
put this
behind my
over
back handcuffs. You know? But, you know, it's really, it's been a very big process of re-engineering your whole method of delivery and being able to communicate in a clear way without guilt about price or about cost. And, you know, I just not defending, you know, we had got on with a meeting with Jay Williams with my team for 2 hours. And it was a beautiful thing, because it was a chance for them to really vocalize what they were going to talk about with clients and to listen to what they were saying and evaluate that role playing of not, and, you know, and we were already stating that fact. When you get with your team, remember the conversation with the guest. And remember, the first thing we said before the meeting with Jay was no commiserating. No walking in with a guest, and then by the time you get to the chair, you're feeding into their negativity. Oh yeah, this does suck. This mask is so hot. I can't believe we have to wear this. I wonder how much longer. You know, we said to the team members, there is none of that. You know, there is none of that. The vibe in our salon is like whatever you can do to make it light. So we're like, come on, I am Batman, you're Robin. Let's get our masks on. Let's fly to the back. Let's go. You know, whatever you have to say to create that fun. You know, we can't hug people. So we asked the team, what could we do in lieu of a hug? So when they walk in, we have one of those hotel bells, you know, like a little bellman bell. And the front desk rings the bell when they walk in the door, and everybody else, hooray, like Norm from Cheers. Because we want the clients to say, you know what, when we showed up at Techniques, not only did we get greeted from our car, but we have someone going out front with a sign that says, we're so glad you're here, and they're going to be holding it up in the parking lot. So when they acknowledge, not only by electronic acknowledgement, we're going to have someone go outside. We're going to have a greeter, and they're going to say, you know what, when I got there, not only did they greet me from my car, someone came outside with a banner and welcomed me. When I walked in, there was a bell and the whole team said hooray. And then when I came back, I got offered this welcome gift. We made a welcome gift off of one of those Pinterest things with an M&M, and it was M&Ms with a miniature pack of M&Ms with a mini bottle of water. And it says, much and many thanks for being here. We missed you. So we are really like laying out the carpet so that when they walk in, they're going to know, hey, you know what? This is different. This is different, but it's okay, you know? And what are you going to talk about with them? You know, Jay coached very well on that. I wish Jay was on here. His piece about, he jived with totally, what is the conversation? And I'm going to share what he said because he's not here. It was brilliant. He said to my team, don't ask, how are you? Do not ask that. because that is an open question that could crash and burn in so many ways. He said, tell me one thing that was good for you that happened during COVID. And people would say, you know what? I got to spend 2 months with my college age son who would have never been home with me. I got to learn how to cook. I got to go hiking with my daughter. You know, those are the things you want to talk about. You don't want to talk about, I lost my job, you know, this happened and that happened. And you have that conversation to steer, you know. And if you are a stylist behind the chair and you're spending an extra 35 minutes with that guest because no one is assisting in shampooing, use that time. We put together the Extra Love menu. So while you're sitting for your 40-minute timing, we have 4 or 5 items that a stylist can offer you. And the first one is the styling lesson. We're going to have mannequins on the styling floor, and they're going to be able to step over and see you do something or take that tool themselves and practice something that they've always wanted to learn at the hands of someone that can teach them how to do it. So in that 30 minutes, they could learn a skill with the color sitting on their head. Who's going to not walk out the door and say, oh my God, that was great. Not only to get my hair colored, I can curl my daughter's hair now, or I can do my own, you know? Also, we have something called the technology lesson. So maybe you have a middle-aged or someone that's not savvy. How many people say, can you show me how to get on the app? So we're going to show them how to load the app, how to get on our platforms, how to like something, how to do a selfie. We're asking them to drop us a review and showing them how to get to Google to do it. Because how many people would like to do it, but they're intimidated by technology? So that's part of our Extra Love menu. You know, we'll work with you on your technology. You know, we'll sit down and we'll go through it. So, you know, what other offerings can you give to that client in that 30 minutes, that 45 minutes where, you know, one person said, well, we haven't seen him, so we can sit there and talk. And I'm like, yeah, you can sit there and talk, but give them something to go home with. So they you know, we work that.
Patty,
Yeah.
is that my mic going crazy?
It is.
Oh my God, that was scary. I got an Andrew mic. Patty, so what I wanted to say, those are awesome ideas. And if I could follow up with everybody, if you are open, once you get open, I'm going to suggest that after your first week of operating on your first day off, and I know it's going to be a ball buster to do it, I want you to invite all the people that were in for the week to a live Zoom. And do kind of a, wow, great, thanks for coming in, follow up with them all at once, make it a little party, you know, our first week party, thanks all you clients, and keep that going with your other clients. Zoom is going to be the new way to go, especially interacting with your clients. I mean, how awesome is this that we're doing this right now? And you could be doing this with your clients instead of just a generic email. Now, the generic emails and text messages, all those things are still important. But if you can get into a live session with your clients like this, get them onto these and get them used to them.
Derek, I think Christine can speak to that. Christine, you had a live Zoom with your clients, and I got great feedback from your clients about it. Turn your mic on.
Christine, you got to turn your mic on.
That's why they got great feedback, because she didn't say anything.
So we've been doing it every Friday at 11 a.m. And we just let them know during the week that we'll be on. And it's myself and a couple of team members. And we have virtual consultations, or we're asking about feedback, what they would like to see more of, how much, what is the value that we can add. So we've had some really great conversations, a lot of really great feedback. And, just to know that when we do open, they feel really safe. And we also let them know that we are going to continue it weekly. So this could be a way that they could contribute. So I love that idea, Derek.
Staying connected is just staying connected.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just keep it,
So you did a
keep
Zoom,
it
did
going.
You do it on
It's so
Facebook,
important.
or did you send them all a link?
I'm sorry?
Your Zoom for the clients, did you do it like a Facebook, like where you put the Zoom link in Facebook, or you emailed it to them?
We did it in an email.
Okay.
And for the most part, even the ones that aren't tech savvy, like Patty said, I love that, teaching them how to get on board with tech. But they were able to come on, and even some of the older clients were on the call, so they figured it out.
They're good with email. That's
did-
why they can do email.
Yeah, we just had a question in the Facebook Live, which I think is pertinent. I'm not going to go through it and beat a dead horse here because we've been through it 3,000 times. If anybody wants to jump in on it, it's fine. Nikki, I know you and Iva, this is kind of your forte, but they asked, I'm raising my prices and customers are upset by it. So it's basically, we get back to the conversation. Should I raise my prices or should I do a COVID charge? And if my customers get upset by it, what do I do? So I'm first going to say, yes, you should raise your prices and or do a COVID charge, one or the other. If you haven't raised your prices in a long time or haven't done them right before COVID, then raise your prices. If you raised your prices right before this took place, then I'd be careful, and I'd probably go along with the COVID surcharge ticket, right? So that's just my theory on it. As far as customers getting upset by it, you're going to get a couple, but you know what? They're not really the customers you want in your business anymore. Going forward, there is going to be an abundance of customers. Jay said it the other night, the industry is expecting 40% shutdowns. That's a pretty scary figure. And I can see it already. I mean, I've just in the groups and everything that we monitor, I see people, I give up. There's going to be a lot of stylists to be picked up. And there's going to be a lot of clients to be picked up. And, things are slowing down with doing clients. So, supply and demand, it's marketing 101, right? There's going to be a lot of demand and not as much supply. So if you've got those couple clients, I'm sorry, but this is our cost of business now.
And if you notice, a lot of the coaches there and trainers that are on here and a lot of the trainees that have been through, they're all talking about having a separate menu. So part of that perception, listen, Starbucks opened by us in New Jersey like last weekend, and I had stopped at the salon. Obviously, we're still closed. And the line for the drive-through Starbucks was so tight, it was like the Da Vinci Code of what a snail shell should look like. I couldn't believe they had that many cars wrapped around. And I'm sure, oh, you wanted soy milk? Well, now soy milk is another $2.50. Oh, you wanted 2 pumps? Oh, forget it. So if you have a separate menu, it's not your old menu of what you did before. So I love the extra love, Patty. I think that's a great idea. But if it's like, hey, we don't have the old menu, so the brochures you had before and the website, that doesn't count. Here's the COVID, the reboot menu, and see you later. That's it.
If I can throw into that, the Starbucks right down the street from us is equally the same. Yesterday I was in Starbucks and there was, I think I counted, it was over 30 cars just in the drive-through. You can't tell me people are going broke. People have money. Now, I know that people are obviously hurting financially because we feel the veil of our industry, which is this crippling effect on our industry. And so we see the world in that perspective. I would encourage you guys to start looking at the world from somebody else's eyes for just a moment, not with just salon owners and salon industry. Take yourself out of our industry just a second and just pitch yourself in this world that you can see other people. How many clients do you know work in government contracting or corporate structures or other jobs that have seen pay cuts because their companies are reacting to this pandemic in a way that they're trying to keep their business alive? We'll talk about compensation later. We'll have to jump into that now. But the understanding is that in the beauty business, we're so sheltered because all we see is just what we know. And what we know is that nobody drops commission. We only go higher in commission. Nobody drops it. Well, dropping compensation is a matter of sometimes surviving for a company. We have to do that sometimes. I know it has to be handled sensitively, but you guys get the idea. There are people spending money, and the supply and the demand of many other things is going way up. Our services qualify as the same. As a matter of fact, I would say our services tend to be of higher value now more than ever. People can't touch each other. The salons are going to be the only business really, once again, that we have that clients can feel extra love and extra care and extra pampering when they've been so alone and so lonely. Our clients are so lonely, they won't stop talking to us. Every time we talk to them on the phone, I can't get them to stop talking to me. And so it's just like one of those things as well. So consider that.
Yeah, Nikki, with that, I just want to tell everybody, if you are raising your prices, do not pay commission on the raised price. Okay.
Well,
I had an owner say, my stylists are saying, well, do I get a piece of that? No, you don't get a piece of that. That's for the new operating costs to keep our business open, to pay for the protective supplies. It just blows my mind that a stylist would even say that. But don't give in to that, guys. If you're doing that, call it a back bar fee. In this case, instead of a back bar fee, it's a protection fee that's coming off the top that you've raised the prices. But don't just, if they're getting 60% and you're going to buy into that even more, you're just digging a deeper hole for yourself.
If your compensation, and we can have a much longer conversation about compensation, but if your compensation is over 50% at this point, now is the time to start readjusting that compensation slightly. With every price increase, you readjust. If you're trying to readjust your compensation, of course. And I just talked to a salon owner today. Well, we've talked to probably 25 today, but the fact is that a bunch of people told us today that well, what are they going to do if they all walk? I think as business owners, we're going to have to accept the fact that we might lose some staff at this point. I think you're going to have to come to terms with that. That's going to have to be a reality of our future. And we are going to have to play it by rules of salon ownership and business ownership, no longer by the rules of, I love my team. I'm a salon owner that just wants to have a little family. I want to be a little mom and I'm going to take care of everybody. We can't think like that anymore. This has made that glaringly clear.
Hey, Nikki, while you're kind of on the top of the subject and we'll open it up to everybody else, we have dueling comments, one from Lisa on Facebook. And so I'm going to read them both first. She said, I'm raising my prices and requiring masks and some clients are upset. How do I handle that without being a bitch? She put,
you gotta blame somebody else.
And then Doreen in Zoom just said, you call it express cut and color, but you charge the same plus 15% with no blow dry. ? So there's sort of the same comment. So why don't you start on that first about that client perception?
Well, I think that offering limited menus in a time of reopening, meaning our country is in a state of complete disrepair. Our country is also in a state of fear. And also our industry is a high touch point. Personal care services and industry is high touch point, which means that it is going to be categorized as high danger zone. So we do have to consider that what we do is a little bit more on the danger side than probably the majority of people. So therefore we have to follow guidelines probably a bit more strict. And how I would explain it myself personally to my guests is, I would say I would blame the government. If your governor states that you have to have masks and you have to take temperatures, then by God, that's what you have to do. And so much so that even in Virginia, and I know a lot of other states, are requiring that the clients sign in, date, time, and take the temperature in order to trace back if somebody gets sick in your business. I talked to someone that works for the CDC today, and they stated that if you can lock down half of your salon, meaning just tarp it off, don't even use it. If you have the space to do that, because you have a lower staff, use only half the space in order to, if someone gets sick, that you can respond in that moment to shutting down that half that you were using, opening up the half you weren't using, and then take that space and shut that down for 48 hours, spray it all down, call on a professional, sanitize it down, whatever you got to do to get that space working, instead of shutting your entire salon down, if that's a possibility for you. I know space can be limited for some people, but that's the extreme measures that we have to go to be in a danger business, in my opinion, that there's super high touch points. So I would just simply blame the governor. I would say this is the state mandates for this. And not only that, but I need to be sure that all of you guys are safe, because if somebody gets sick in our industry, in our business, I don't want to be held liable for that. I want to make sure I'm following every procedure correctly. So that being said, I think it's important. If you're talking about devaluing or lessening the value, I don't think that's the case. If you're raising prices, it's not about creating more value. It's about responding to a supply and demand equilibrium. This is not about you adding more value or taking value away. The value is that you are in business in a state of this country being shut down. That's the value here. You are in a high demand industry that not essential. I know they're not calling it essential, but we are absolutely high demand, which in my opinion sits above essential as far as I'm concerned. And so you just need to think about how you present that thing, and then add values in other ways. If you don't do a blow dry, add back bar treatments that you're leaving on their hair. Offer something else in your business that might be a value if this is of concern to you. I don't feel concerned about that. I just know that the first 8 weeks, there are different rules that apply to our business, and we will follow those rules so that we can survive. And if you want to come in, this is a premium appointment, and that's what we're going to do.
Nikki, guys, and everybody listening right now, fall back to what Jay said, right? Jay said, answer the question with the question, right? So the question is, can you believe the government is doing this to us? Pass the buck, okay? Third party, right? And you'll be safe. You know, I mean, you know, with relation to protective equipment, wow, we're doing the utmost. We're spending all this money getting all these things ready, you know, to make your experience safe, those kind of things. But always, if you're mandated to do something outside of your control, don't put it upon yourself. Put it upon whoever's mandating that control, and that's the government in this case. So, you know.
Well, think about it, guys. Derek, I mean, speak on the fact that your salon will have to shut down if somebody gets sick in your salon for 48 hours at the very minimum.
100%. Nikki, 100%. You know, we talked about that in one of our webinars, right? And not only that, how you're going to have to split your team. And if half the team gets sick, they're sitting out while the other team is picking up all the slack, right? You know, as far as sanitizing your place, I think you're safe if you've gotten the protective equipment and gotten the ozone generators and things we've talked about in the past. I don't think you have to close the whole place for 48 hours because you can sanitize the place overnight. But as far as your team, if you're not separating your team properly, you may end up at a point where your whole team is shut down until they test negative, right? So,
they have to go get tested.
Be smart about this. Be smart.
Yeah, and you know, I want to open up something too because it just got broached about the blow dry. So I know there was a lot of different odd things about blow drying clients. Initially, it was like, are you spreading the virus around? Are you doing this? And other states, you know, different schools of thought on it. My thing all along is I do not want to blow dry you because I have 600 clients I have to try to get in if we open July 7th in 8 weeks before back to school, which is never happening, by the way. I have inside information in New Jersey. See you after Thanksgiving break, New Jersey. But the, you know, reality of it is, if you try to get all of those clients jammed into an 8-week period, the blow dry is like, listen, I know you'd love the blow dry. It's so nice, but now I have to sanitize brushes. I have to have this whole contraption set up to dry the brushes and everything else, plus the expense of buying another couple $1,000s in brushes. It's like, I love the express menu idea of like, hey, this is the Dunkin' small menu. This is all we have right now for the next 8 weeks. Whether you like it or not, these are the you know, that's it. What kind of soup do you have today? Chicken soup. What, do you have any other soup? No, it's chicken soup. Do you want the noodles or not the noodles? Otherwise, there's nothing I can do for you.
It's a perfect time to embrace your client's natural hair.
Nikki, I was going to piggyback on your whole hypothetical. God forbid anybody got sick and we got sued. Imagine how much their services are going to be after you end up in court a couple times.
They're going to be higher than Christine Zielinski charges for a haircut.
Exactly.
She makes you give a pint of blood, and she has dibs on your firstborn if she actually wants it or not. You have to sign off. You know, she's not sure.
I don't know how many of you guys have planned for a plan once somebody gets sick or not, but that is a serious conversation. I think we need to, and I think that we need to get ready and get our minds ready for it. It's not preventing someone to get sick. It's minimizing and how to respond to it when someone does get sick, I think.
Well, and you know what? That's a good point. I don't know what call. I don't know if it was one of. I don't think it was our Monday call with Jay. It was somebody else, Modern Salon or something. You know, everybody that's listening, you should have some type of protocol set up, like a what if, because we already know our insurance policies are not going to cover us yet. They probably will, like after 9/11 with terrorism, they eventually added that rider in. But you should have some policy to say, because your clients are going to freak out, right? So God forbid you freak out, you're closed for 3 months, and your team A, somebody tests positive, and then you have to worry about, can you test? Is there a vaccine? The clients are all going to lose their mind if you have to contact trace them. So if there's like, hey, this is how it is, this is how it's structured, it may help. And there's been a few other certifications, by the way. I know Barbicide, whether you love Barbicide or not, they had their original, they have the COVID-19. Milady has one. John Hopkins just came out with one for contact tracing. So you could actually pay to have a certificate if you really want it, or you can do it for free to say that you did it. Just warning you that the Barbicide one that says it's 2 hours, which took most of us 2 minutes, The Johns Hopkins one, it says it's 5 hours and it's probably like 10 hours, just to let you know.
I want you guys to war game it a little bit. Think of the worst case scenario and work your way backwards. And that's what you tell your guest. Your guest is, you need to tell them, we need to prevent all happenings as much as possible.
So I have a question. Who governs what happens? So I heard some salons are required to have records of time in and time out and who all was on staff at that time, but not all states. Is that correct? Is that being mandated by the state?
It's a
It
state.
is being mandated by the state.
By some states, but not all states.
Most states.
Is it?
Most states.
I was gonna say, I haven't heard most states, but
Mary,
Yeah.
so it's state by state, but just keep in mind that if you're not on a paper book and you're using a point of service system, you've already got contact tracing, right? And if you're getting your consent forms electronically, remember we talked about a whole bunch of lessons ago, I think it was Iva actually brought it up, or it might have been you, Nikki, that said, keep all your forms electronic into Google and period. And just keep them there. It's just protecting yourselves, because you could, we talked about this in the past. There's always going to be some lawyer out there who's going to sue, period. Whether it's right or wrong, there's always going to be some lawyer. I had a conversation with a coaching client today. Do you have insurance? Did you have insurance? Yes, I had insurance. I still do. Well, great. You had insurance. And guess what? My theory is, if they're trying to play the whole thing that we don't cover, pandemics, I might have my lawyer ready to go, because the way it looks right now, they're getting a lot of pressure for playing these shenanigans that all the insurance companies are going to end up paying out at some point. So just keep notes on all this stuff, what your losses are, what your protections are. Keep it all electronic so you don't lose it. Keep it in your Google Drive, whatever it might be. But things will get better. Things will change, folks. So, we're kind of, and I know all of us, even the coaches in the group, we're kind of burned out with this stuff right now, right? I think everybody is. And I see the frustration in the group right now. People who normally wouldn't be adversarial are being adversarial with each other. Just remember, we're all here to support each other and help each other. Even me, I'm getting like Groundhog Day every day, and I'm like, this is freaking ridiculous, right? I think we all are. But we've got to be here to support each other and get through this, and it will get better. Okay, just keep in mind.
The reason Derek has a new background tonight is he drank all the stuff.
It's gone.
Mary, I would.
I'm moving to Colorado, and I'm going to smoke myself to death.
Mary, I would venture to say, regardless of your state requires it, I really believe, as we've reviewed all of these states and their guidelines, some states didn't even issue guidelines. I think some states really did their teams, did their population a huge disservice in not doing that. I think regardless of what your state issues or not, you as the business owner need to be very protective of yourself and your team and your guest. And I think you need to probably implement some measures of control in that way. Regardless of it or not, just you say our state didn't issue the guideline. However, these states issue the guidelines, and I feel as a business owner, it's the safest way to go.
So Diana just asked, are electronic consent forms, do we have to have them signed physically? And the answer is no. It's become pretty commonplace that you can track an electronic consent form. If somebody signs a consent, then they come in, they're pretty much proving that they just followed an action and came into your salon. Nobody's going to sign for them and they came in the salon. I mean, so, common sense rules with some of this stuff. So electronic consent forms are perfectly fine.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, Derek, with like Adobe documents can be verified. Banking and everything else use them now with no live signature. So I feel like at that point, if you're going to sue me and I have a document, I have you on camera that you were actually in the salon and you're going to pretend, or it's like, all right, if you want to go down that fight, like, I've been closed for 3 months. You want to get blood from a stone? Let's go.
I mean, James, let's be honest. There's no way to physically prove that you got the virus from the salon, period. Even if somebody in the salon had it. I mean, yeah, you can try and say, yeah, that's right. But you know what? You might have been in contact with 50 other people that might have had it at a food store. So it's just, there will be attorneys out there that try this crap though, to strong arm people. So
but
just
I bet there is a way to
every way
prove that you got the best haircut of your life from Rodney.
I see he's in there. Him and Andrew are getting a wild hair.
There's got to be a way to prove that Rodney gave you the best haircut of your life. That's for sure. Was he putting a giant? Listen, I hope that's a giant set. You got to unmute yourself, Rodney. Listen, you were on like weeks ago now. Now we need to hear from you again.
Hey, bud. Yeah. No, it's been, we had a Zoom tonight with our staff, and it was actually refreshing. We actually had all the assistants on. It was interesting to hear about what their concerns were about future training, and also are they going to work with one particular stylist, or are they going to work with individual clients? It was really interesting. I actually learned a lot from actually, just asking questions with our staff today. It was impressive.
Steve Statlin's got some interesting hair going on there. You finally grew hair, Steve. There, you shrunk away.
Mary, is that
Steve,
why you were asking?
Steve, I think the color's really off right now.
Mary, why were you asking that question?
I have really bad heart rate.
The reason that I was asking is because I was really curious about it, because I'd heard people talk about being very serious about having to track it, and then other people who weren't at all. So I agree with you, Nikki, that, and I also know people, I know Derek talked about this the other night, and I thought it made a lot of sense, that are literally splitting their staff and saying, you're always going to work these days and you're always going to work these days. Because if the government comes in and says, somebody was here that had it and everybody was there, then everybody would have to be out, right? For whatever number of days that looked like. So I thought that was really smart, but I think I'm with you in that you have to have a plan A, maybe a plan B, maybe a plan C, and then see what happens. But the person would have to report back to you too that they had it, right? So that's where it starts, with them saying they had it.
If they do, but Connecticut's guidelines. So Connecticut was supposed to open in 2 days, and then I printed the guidelines today. Well, it's funny. Out of all the guidelines so far, Connecticut had the best graphic designer because they looked really nice the way they were laid out, and I actually might try to steal some of the little emblems they put in. But they didn't say anything about splitting the staff. And they said social distancing in the 6-foot capacity, but they didn't say anything about capacity overall for the salon. So
I thought they said 50%. I thought Connecticut was 50%.
They, it's like it's like the PPP loan, right? They'd like to give you weird things and say, well, if you could stand on your head while you juggle and you can still drive a car and walk your dog, you're totally fine. You're going to get forgiven. So they threw in weird parameters for it. So it's assumed that it would have to be based on your square footage that way, but they really didn't have too many square foot parameters. But man, who's writing the rules? Did you talk to one salon owner? If they said, hey, if I show you this, look at this really cool infograph we made, what do you think? Can you just put the stupid square footage on there? Can you tell me I can only use 2 out of 3 sinks? Would you mind just throwing in something that makes sense to us normal people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how do you know what my capacity was before?
Well, like
normal people.
We're going to open in an airplane hangar.
I would seriously consider splitting your salon space and sealing down some area. I think it would be so much easier. You don't have to shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Just to avoid the shutdown, if you have the space for it.
Yeah.
And it's also worth mentioning about the lunchroom and all
If they
that.
have a sanitizer, they don't have to worry about it. Not everybody went out and bought a sanitizer. Some people did. They bought them for their air systems. Some people bought the UV sanitizers, things like that. Then you don't have to shut down. But if you get a staff contamination, Nikki's right. So Nick, what I think Nikki was getting at the other day, and what I explained too, is always prepare for the worst, right? Have a contingency, have a second plan. It's Murphy's Law, right? When you think everything is going perfect, something's going to sneak up on you and smack you. So you gotta have that contingency plan laid out and ready to go. Now, if you have a small salon, it might be a little more difficult, but considering the average salon is anywhere from 7 to 10 employees, it shouldn't be a problem to split the shift and max out the days and the hours. That's the way you're going to operate.
Derek, who is this Murphy guy?
I don't know, but he sure pissed off the Navy SEALs and the Marines, because Murphy always shows up at the worst time. In the Marines, we also have a guy named Private Schmuckatelli. And
Isn't that your cousin?
That's my cousin. That's my first cousin. Andrew liked that one. And James, I've never related to anything that anyone's called me normal. That was fun. That was cool.
Okay, we're muting now.
Listen, I'm sleeping at your house pretty soon, all right? So don't worry about it. I got to get the hell out of here with these 3 kids. It's like, forget it. I feel like I would have been better off fostering dogs.
Derek, can I jump on that? If there is, Nikki, your great point on that. If there is the possibility of that happening, the proactivity would be a good idea to find out if your team needs to get tested, where should you send them? Is it part of workman's comp? Is there a local urgent care right there? Give your team the protocol and, figure that out in advance so that you don't find out that day that someone has it and you don't know. We all got to get tested. So maybe there should be a system around that.
So if you search on, I did a search tonight to create a list. I'll share that link on Salon Owner Mastermind tonight when I'm done here. It's basically a link where you could just search it and search in your state. You go in there and you put it in the search bar, your state, and it will tell you exactly where the testing centers are in your area. So I think
we already have ours in place. Yeah. We have one right
here. If you don't get it, get it, and I would actually consider asking your staff to go get tested before they begin work, if you haven't begun work yet. Just a thought. I mean, I'm not saying you have to do that. These are extreme measures. Again, I always plan for worst case scenario and then work my way back. That's kind of the way I think. But
because now they're testing healthy people for antibodies, and anybody can be tested.
Right.
They're doing that right in your
I would just be prepared. And I think that if you share that with your guest as well, it's also a very powerful tool so that when you started off, no one started with it already. You know what I mean? It's just some things that I'm talking about. Listen, testing isn't perfect. I'm just saying testing is a step in the right direction to be aware so that you are taking care of every precaution as you can.
Yeah. But having a protocol and a plan for that is good, so you don't get caught like panicking if all of a sudden.
Right, and I would also consider as well putting in steps to a list in the back of symptoms that if you sense any symptoms at all, these are the list of symptoms. Immediately tell us immediately, so that we know to get you out of here as fast as possible.
Well, here's a question, and I'm just it's open ended because I don't know the answer because you just made me think of it, Nikki. If you're PTO, especially in a state like New Jersey, right now, according to the CARES Act for the state, if someone gets COVID on site, you have to pay them for their 2 weeks paid time off, and it is yada 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 whatever. But can you mandate that they get tested? Is that legal? So in other words, client calls and says, "Hey, I got the fever," and whatever happens, and it's a few days after. If shift A or shift B or shift C was on that day, can you say, "Hey, by our company waiver, you have to go get tested"? And what if they refuse? Because listen, Northern New Jersey, we have a lot of anti-vaxxers. That's not my war. Like whatever. Hey, listen, you're lucky I'm only getting vaccinated for the measles. I'll get vaccinated I got aliens trying to beam into my brain. But what's the protocol with that? Is it a HIPAA violation for your own staff to make them get tested, or do you say, "Hey, you're fired"? Like, anybody have an idea?
So Nikki, running the union in New Jersey, because I used to run the Public Employees Union for the state of New Jersey, I can answer that very quickly for you with regard to New Jersey. And this carries over to most states, James. In a union environment with a contract, no, you cannot. In a non-union at-will employee, you can absolutely mandate that they get tested prior to coming back to work. They also, when it happens, if they are out of their 2 weeks PTO, then they have to go on workman's comp and or family medical leave, paid family medical leave. So those are the two issues they can do. That's federal with regard to testing. Most states in the United States are at will, which means at will employees, which means you can mandate it. Unless you have it in your contract that you can't do it, then you can absolutely do it.
Derek, can you write that down and post that to Salon Owner Mastermind, please? I think that's important information.
Sure, absolutely.
I think Derek answered that question. I don't think I need to answer it, yeah?
No, you jump in. I just, I mean, coming from a labor law background, because that's my background, I can just, I mean, things like that just come second nature for me, because I've fought these cases 100 times on the side where I said, yeah, you can't make us do that, right? And I got my ass kicked by a judge who said, sorry, son, you're wrong. So
to piggyback on that, Derek, though, what about the charge for it? Would the company have to pay for it if we're mandating it?
Yes.
I think that it's I'm going to come at it from a leadership philosophical perspective, than that's just the compliance perspective, which compliance or not, legal or not, rules or not. I think that as a team, if you have a discussion about why it's important to test as often as possible and have the protocol set up about what you're going to do if someone gets sick in the business, or to minimize the ability, I think they will feel that it's a safer thing. If you have a team member that is resistant to that, I think it's a private conversation to ask them, why are you resistant to that? I think you do have to know what are their fears, what are their concerns, and why is it they're so resistant to it? I mean, again, I'm gonna always come from the perspective of communicating and asking your team member privately, tell me what's going on. Why are you so worried about that? What is the concern for you just to go get tested? Especially if I'm paying for it, why is that a problem? And so I think that's something important.
Nikki, for Nicole and Charles, because I don't know who else is open, but when your employees come to work, do you ask them those questions and take their temperature?
Yeah.
You do.
We took everybody's temperature this morning. Today was our first day open, so we took everybody's temperature. And
every day you'll do that, right?
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's weird. I mean, it's really weird, but it's whatever. I mean,
it takes a second with the touchless one. You just hold it up to their forehead and click.
Yeah. Because my team had to talk about feeling very insecure about clients lying. It's like when you get on a cruise ship and you sign the waiver that you haven't had like a virus in 24 hours. People lie all the time because they want to get on the boat. They want to get their hair done. They may not tell you.
Oh, I absolutely believe people will lie.
And what about you guys?
On social media posting that he was going to blow the cold air vent if he had a fever and just get it, so he could pass the test walking in the door. And I'm like,
With Charles and Nicole, with you guys working together, I mean, obviously I know when you first open, you're sort of stuck as owners, but do you guys have any issue with, if you're doing team A and team B and you guys are together and go home, are you guys staying in one location together over the other just to make sure that you're not contaminating staff?
No, not at this point. We have not. I mean, it's hard. We're not large enough to do a lot.
And our shampoo bowls are only in one location.
Right.
Both locations are only 3 doors from each other. So the colors that are being applied over there have to be shampooed over here. So
you see, we do a lot of charity work, so we work with the PBA and the fire department. So we're just going to have a fire hose outside, and they're just going to
It's
it's going to be a charity event, so we're going to raise funds for the fire department, and clients are going to get their color washed out. It's going to be perfect.
James, it seemed like you were looking for a way to get your own apartment just to protect the business.
Right. Charles might be on board with that, actually. It's been a
Come
long,
on, Peter.
long
Charles, I like Charles, man. If you want to get out of here, man, I'm all for it. Listen, Phil and Mary have 2 couches in their beautiful little area there. We could sleep on dueling couches, man.
I just want to say something because I think this is funny. I'm the guy that runs the damn AC in the wintertime. All right. So I'm always hot. So if I get scanned with the thermometer, they're going to be like, no, dude, you can't walk in here. And it's my joint. What? No laughter?
No.
Stephen, I think your temperature, there's a baseline temperature I think you got to follow.
Girl, I run hot.
Charles, you just got to be the first one to get to work and make sure you're the one taking everybody's temp.
You're first.
The man with the temperature controls it all.
That's right. Dude, I'm telling you, I run that AC all year long.
Oh, I know.
So funny.
Are there any questions from the viewers? That
I saw something on there. People were asking about compensation. There was a couple alluding to that. Duck and run, Nick. Run, run.
Get her started on compensation. I'm warning you, if you get her started, it'll be midnight.
Go.
Listen,
just saying.
I hate being the bearer of bad news because I wanted to be all positive and give you guys great news all the time. But the fact is I think there's going to be a lot of people. So I think the PPP loan, they're changing guidelines as we speak. I do believe within the next couple of weeks, there will be a whole new set of guidelines, loosening the repayment terms. I believe they're trying to pitch 5-year repayment term versus 2 years. And I think that they are trying to stretch the 8 weeks to a much longer period of time. And I do believe that they're trying to allow owners that have already received PPP funds to go back and get more funds for the second phase, because I'm telling you, the second phase is going to be a shit show when it comes to money and health. But let's just focus on the money for a second. And I think that we need to figure out ways to get some funding in our business in order to cover compensation of our teams somehow in that second phase. And I really mean that. I think that operating at half production, increased cost, even with a price increase, I don't even know if you can touch it. I think that you need to consider that compensation, especially if you're at 50 or 60% commission. Ivan and I have talked to salon owners that are telling us that their teams have come to them, plotted against them behind their backs, launched into it, and basically telling them that they're going to walk if they don't get a 10% commission increase. You guys need to get ready for these conversations. They're coming. And I think that second phase is, unless unemployment somehow allows us. So I think there's a couple sources here. The source is going to be unemployment, that they will give unemployment additional pay based on reduced wages and reduced hours or reduced compensation. The problem is they might have the stipulation written in unemployment already, but they might not have launched it or have it ready to go, or they're not clear cut on how that will work in the middle of this pandemic yet, because nobody's tapping into that just yet. So we do need to be aware and research our state diligently to make sure that we can maximize on any unemployment benefits that could be paid out in that second or even third phase of when compensation is at a dramatic low. Because you know what's going to happen when those stylists start seeing 50% of what they're doing in production. They're not going to translate it to 50% production. You know they don't think like that. What they're going to translate is, oh, you need to pay me more money because I'm making less money. And the problem is that there is not anyone that I've talked to other than grocery stores or these businesses that have been booming through this pandemic that have not considered dropping their compensation. And in the salon world, we are weak with compensation scalability as it is, just the theoretical perspective of compensation, much less to alter it and maneuver it to our liking and to our success rate. We don't even know how to do compensation just normally. We try, we do the sliding scales and do the commissions and whatever, but I think we would all agree as coaches and business owners that compensation is a broken topic in our industry. And salon owners are terrified to present compensation in any other way to their team other than, okay, I'll give you more. This is why we keep getting 55, 60%, whatever. And we are now needing to consider how we're going to readjust our compensation. It's a very difficult conversation to have. But I'm hoping that the second source, if it's not unemployment, is going to be the PPP loan for us as owners to be able to go back. I'm praying, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, I'm doing the happy dance for it, to make sure that you guys and we all get this as an industry, to be able to go back and get additional funds in that PPP to carry us for an additional 8 weeks of payroll. I'm trying so hard to read this and find this somewhere. And I do believe, I mean, Iva, pipe in if you agree, I think that they can see this very clearly as coming down the line. And I think that we need to make sure that we stay on top of that. We need to make a plan. So the best thing you can do is save your money. Save it as much as possible right now. Cut your expenses down. Talk to your landlords about not just the 2 months of deferment, but talk to your landlords about cutting your rent in half for the next 2 or even 3 or even 4 months if you can. I think you have to start negotiating this rent stuff now. Start calling all of your creditors, start talking to them, start making sure that we all understand exactly what we have to do to save money. And I know no one likes to hear this, and no one likes to hear anyone suggest this, because you're just like, yep, not happening here. I'm not going to lose my team. But I think you're a banana peel away from losing them anyway at this point, because they're all doing hair on the side.
Nikki, I appreciate it. We could go on and on about compensation all night, right? But here's the lowdown. And Nikki, jump in if I don't paraphrase properly. Number one, if you can get the PPP, take it and hang on to it. Don't spend it out right now if you're not open, okay? Because what I'm seeing is chances are you can sit them on unemployment, use the PPP when you reopen. And that's probably what's going to happen in the regulations, okay? So bank that cash if you can, period. Any cash you can get hold of, bank. The second thing, which I think is the most important topic, there is going to be such fluctuation in staff over the next 6 to 12 months that your head is going to explode. Forget about the way it used to be. People are going to be jumping salons like you've never seen before, and there's going to be a lot less salons to jump to. So keep that in mind. So as you're losing, you've got to be marketing to get new employees, okay? As far as lowering prices on pay, if you're bringing new employees in, lower the prices. Don't pay them 50 and 60%. It was wrong in the first place. If you are, then you better get creative with back bar charges and COVID charges, okay? Because that's going to bring you down to the 40% or under where you should have been in the first place. So just that's kind of a paraphrase of what, in my mind, is going on right now and what's going to happen. You're going to have employees shifting like crazy. And mutinies, by all means, if you have a mutiny on your hands, right now is the best time. Because while you're closed is the best time to let them walk and get new employees. Because if they are that disloyal, they shouldn't have been on your team in the first place. And I'm sorry, you're going to have to make hard decisions like Nikki said.
By the way, I wouldn't assume that just because an employee, the days of grabbing the entire following and going next door may be over. So I wouldn't assume that given what's going on, the bigger picture, that the customers, the clients are going to be leaving just because a hairdresser does. Think about it.
Derek, hey guys. This kind of goes into what I was talking about when I was on about educating your stylist. This is an amazing time to sit them down in a staff meeting and teach, like show them the finances, let them understand where it's all going, because I believe if they know, like I was saying before, if they know, they're more likely to go with you, and then they feel a little bit more of a, of a team, and because they're in the know. And then Andrew, as far as what you were just saying, I know from the independent standpoint, a lot of these places are like the one that I used to be at, they shut it down. Not only did they shut it down, they turn the electricity off, so those people can't even go in there. And so I'm seeing those people start to fold, and I think that you're going to see a shift the other way. I mean, because I know so many of these independents are calling and they haven't gotten a dime, and they say they're watching my videos, but I don't think they are. They say they're listening to Nikki and I, but I don't think they are. But I think you're going to see a shift the other way.
Tracy, I think you nailed it. I think we're in for right now, we're so wrapped in our own little bubbles, right? And because that's how we all are right now. We're in a bubble, right? It's Groundhog Day every day, but we don't see what's really going on in the big picture. And I think Jay nailed it just the other night, right? He said we might look at as high as 40 to 50% of salons folding. Do you realize how astronomical that is and how many stylists will be looking for a new home? Right. So if you've done your proper planning and you've spent your time getting your act together right now, you will be the one to come out and succeed on top of this. Whether you're having staff issues right now, I promise you in the future, if you're marketing to get new staff, you won't have those same issues because the industry is going to consolidate. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, we actually had our top producer we parted ways with. We were supposed to be parting ways the end of March, and I had to close before then, or we chose to close before then. So it's been interesting to watch our team see the other side of it. Like that was kind of a gift for us because she's not been able to get unemployment. She can't get into her new, she was renting a suite in one little room by herself. She can't get into her room. And when we have all of this energy and they're watching the preparation, they're seeing the response of the clients, that definitely allows them to see things from a different perspective. We're always pretty transparent with our numbers with our team anyway. But I've never felt like we conducted our meeting yesterday to get everybody ready for our open today. And I've never felt more empowered as an owner to just say, not at all that I don't care, because I love my people, but to say we're offering an opportunity, and if you want it and you want to get on board and you want to really be somebody that is going to be a vital piece of this team and help us grow, then awesome. If you don't, cool. Because starting today, we are marketing heavily for the new hires that we're looking for.
Hey, there was a question that came in from Cindy, and this has come up before, and we're friendly with Matt and Jen at Canvas Recruit and a bunch of other things. I know hiring stylists is always a weird thing, but Cindy had said, what's the most professional way to market for new stylists as other salons may be going out of business? I mean, what if there's a stylist that works for a salon that may open and they're like, hey, it wasn't great there to begin with, and I probably would have left before the holidays, but now I'm definitely going. Like, as owners, what are your responsibilities in terms of what if it's somebody up the block and they're still going to be open and they're going to leave?
I think it's repetition. Whatever your brand style of want ad is, create it in repetition. I'm talking like 40 times of posting about it. Almost every other day.
Well, and Nikki, you did a great job at breaking down your interview process. Like, Nikki's got a great way to bring them in and run them through the ringer, and that separates the big from the littles, I guess. So
I think that if people are watching this tonight for the first time or the second night or the third night, I love what Derek said about the fact that we're in our bubble, and this bubble right here is some of the top and most successful salons who get it and are working really hard to do everything right. And so there's so many that are just unaware. And I mean, we know salons that don't even have their client list. They don't have their emails. They don't, so all of that, what I would say is if you're new to this group, go back, go on to the YouTube channel and watch every single night, because Christine talked about marketing and Patty talked about marketing and building your brand, and taking this time to hone and be all about who you are. And that's how you recruit. You are solid in who you are, and you want to attract people to be part of your team. And then all of the rest of it are the unknowns, right? All of those are the things that we could drive ourselves crazy about trying to figure out. Control the things that you can. Fill your seats as much as we can, as the illness allows us to, and hope and pray, like we all do, that the finances work out and that the government in the end does everything it can to try to get the money back instead of shutting everyone down. So I would say go back and really watch every night of this incredible.
And Mary, good point. This is our 8-week anniversary, guys.
Yeah.
Officially 8 weeks.
Folks have been working at it for 2 months. Be proud.
Yeah. Long time.
Yeah. And there's just so much great information that has been shared, and it could have almost been so early that people weren't ready to hear it. Everybody was reeling at first. I mean, we all were, right? We all had those up days and down days, and when we were engaged and when we weren't engaged. So maybe that's now you find a day when you can go back and review what all the great speakers have shared.
And salon owners and stylists, individuals should do this. I mean, the 7 months that we were in the RV doing 41 states, what an eye-opener. We saw things that were just unbelievable, all levels. And I think Mary's right. If everyone just for a while just turned and viewed everything that Andrew and Derek and James has done over this period of time, the information is absolutely so valuable.
It's a PhD.
Can I ask you a question?
We would recommend it.
Listen, every time I turn a corner, somebody mentions how much they love you guys, and of course I do. And oddly enough, we've never met yet, but I am going to be sleeping on your couch at some point.
No problem.
Well, actually, there's plenty of room in the bed if you want a big bed.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, you know what? I'm gonna bring all the kids. It'll be a menagerie. But
I
let
gotta
me ask you
say,
something. Would you, Philip, say that we went in like a skunk and came out like a lion? Would that be a statement you would make?
Yeah, it
No
really
pun
would be.
intended, James.
But wait a minute. Before I answer that, I need you to change the backdrop back again.
Oh my God. He's got tears. He's sucking up that crazy.
That's an insult, James, and I'm working hard for you.
There
Thank
you
you, thank you. Now,
Hey,
yeah,
share the love, Philip.
we saw everybody. It was a phenomenal 7-month tour, but each and every time that we left the state, left salons, left stylists, now you guys have put together a menu that is so valuable. Yeah. It really is. And Andrew, although you don't say a lot when you do, it's profound.
Amen.
I'm leaving it at that.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I'd like to add to that this is a good time. Today I took some of my team and I designated certain things that I said, you go back and watch this one, you go back and watch that one. So you can pick and choose now and pick your people in your organization that will resonate, make them little ambassadors, get them in there and let them watch one.
Great idea.
Get somebody on the bundles, get somebody on the marketing, let them be part of it. Like you were saying, transparency. I just want to rub some love on people because I feel like it's a little negative, and a lot of us have teams that are still very invested, and a lot of us have done a good job. And as Mary said, the salons on here, we're walking the walk and we're trying to be as fair as possible. And teams are, people are going to want to stay and want to be held with their owners. I think more than anything, people want leadership right now. They want someone to follow, and they want someone to help them along this time, and to know that they sleep under an umbrella of security, and you're going to be one of the ones left standing,
Yeah.
So, if someone is pushing back, the first thing is to maybe get a little, screw you. I've been carrying you the whole time, but maybe it's time to turn it around and just say, what's going on? Are you okay? Is there something wrong? Try to give them the benefit of the doubt, swallow your anger and just, or get another team member to go in. That's always effectual when can't connect, but give them a chance to state their case. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of quote unquote assholes that want to stay on unemployment because of the 600 and no loyalty to the salon. But I think if the relationship's been pretty good all along, you have a better chance to keep it there, so.
Yeah.
Keep
If
doing
to
what
me,
you're doing.
I'm with you. If somebody does not want to get back behind the chair and do hair and be with their clients, there's something very wrong with that scenario. It's time for them to look for a different job after their unemployment runs out, because all of us are dying to be back with the people, right? So to me, that tells you something.
Well,
Patty, I think you said something really important, which was that there will be asshole stylists, but guess what? There's a lot of asshole owners out there also on the other coin, right? And the people that are in here are the good owners that I know, because I know most of them, and they're in here for a reason, because they are the owners that want their business to succeed and their employees to succeed. So, on the same turn, right? We got asshole employees, we got asshole owners, but there's going to be a lot of good employees and good owners who survive through this. And
They'll be the market leaders, Derek. They'll be the market leaders.
And who are going to meet up?
Exactly. They'll all pair up, right? They'll come together. It'll be a merge. And, it's going to be a painful merge, no doubt about it. But we will get through this, and we'll get through it better than the industry has ever been.
What was it, John Assaraf, the law of attraction? That's going to happen. That's going to happen.
Yeah, can I add to that, Andrew? Just about the recruitment. Whenever somebody comes into our space, now we generally train our staff, and we've had the most success with that. When somebody comes in, the first thing I do is I want you to go and interview 10 salons across New York. New York has a unique situation where you've got so many different brands, and Cutler's great for certain people, but not right for everybody. So go to Arrojo, go to Bumble, go to Fakai, whoever it is. And I think if you actually express that, go and find the right path for you, then you start to sort of minimize the mistakes. Because what we don't want is salon jumpers. And I will drag it out. And it's not about torturing people. I want them to know that if they're going to come here, they're going to be, they might be on the right bus, but in the wrong seat. But ultimately, it will lead. Because we all know, Philip, it peaks and valleys, right? You have these amazing moments. It's just not vertical. So I'm always about, like, we try to hire character and know that they're on the right place, even though it's not going, as well as they had dreamed. So that's my thing. Is like, reach out, because there's so many wonderful, especially in New York, there's so many incredible brands that offer different things, different price points and different opportunities. And I'm okay if they come to me and say, you know what, love it here, but I think this is a better opportunity. And then we've made the right decision, everybody. So that's how, a key for us when we're hiring.
Yeah. It's a good point, Rodney.
Rodney, I totally agree with you. Having that, we've been in New York, as you know, on Fifth Avenue with opening the Exchange, and I was in Saks. It was one of those things that we always had leaders in the past. There were always those great names that you would follow, you'd want to inspire to be. And today there are very few, if none of them left. You've got to find, I think with your staff, I mean, there's always been leaders. We've had them for decades, and we don't right now. So there has to be alternative ways of doing it. And Rodney, I couldn't agree with you more, especially with the location you're in and the reputation you've got. You've got a stellar reputation. You've got one of the best in the business. And I have immense respect for what you've done and what you do and how you go about business.
We had a young boy. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
I think sometimes that if I had a location that I could get you in to express to the people that, is this the right, I love what you said, is this the right seat on the bus for you?
Yeah. We had a young boy, and I knew this kid was going to be successful in New York. And he came in and I just felt like culturally, and I said to him, go and talk to David Adams, who I love, who is one of the icons in our industry in the color world, Aveda. And I rang David and I said, I'm going to send this boy over because I think it's a better fit. And I think, and Derek, you were just saying like about all these great people. If we start to connect and support one another, first of all, if a friend of mine, somebody calls me from another salon, one of their staff has come on, I'm like, I can't have this conversation. Go and talk to your boss. I'm friends. If there's a blessing, then we'll have a conversation. Yeah. Then we start nibbling at each other. We're doing each other in. And there is huge opportunity. We talked about commissions and moving up it keeps pushing up. At some point it doesn't work because people are shifting. And I think we've just got to actually protect our industry, but also understand that if our culture is not right for somebody, it's okay. There's so many ways to build our industry. Build your career in our industry. And I think that's what's beautiful, whether it's price point, doesn't matter where you are in the world, somebody needs a haircut, and we're blessed, so.
No, it's a mentality. It's an abundance mentality versus a scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
And there's going to be, as Derek was saying, there's going to be an abundance of business. Really. The industry as a whole isn't going to shrink. It's maybe the number of units, as we said, is going to shrink, but the total volume is not going to. So it does give everyone a unique opportunity to capture more volume and capture it at a reduced cost of business. And that's going to take some time, but you have to head in that direction and be fearless. Do not fear doing some things that ordinarily you would have, 6 months ago. It's a new day.
This was a lot of fun, right? Bunch of people on, everybody was nice. I mean, Kelly's been dying to talk. She's banging on the screen. I said you could have just unmuted yourself, Kelly, if you had something to say. You too, Linda, if you had anything. I know she was entranced in everything Nikki was saying, But this is fun, and I don't know if this is something as salons start to open, if it's a little more of a collective. Listen, there's great coaches, there's great people that have been on with us the entire time, over 8 weeks, that, this is kind of cool. I mean, I've been on Zoom calls where it was like a parakeet convention, right? And everybody's at the same time. This was actually pretty cool. Great job,
I've got to
guys.
tell you, James, from a stylist and a platform artist educator standpoint and salon owner, I think Derek and Andrew, you have to continue this journey. You really do. I think you have been so incredibly instrumental in making salon owners, stylists, freelance, or whatever the hell situation you're in. You've made people feel comfortable to a degree that they start to understand how to approach a financial world, how to keep accountability for their location and what they're doing in their staff. What you guys have done, all joking aside, has been freaking unbelievable. And I think if you if you discontinue, like just stop this when salons open, it's not going to work. You need to stay keeping them in the right direction.
Right, Nikki?
And I thank you. And Nikki,
Thank you.
well,
Yeah.
Nikki, Iva.
Iva and Nikki.
I always put Nikki and my girl Iva together.
They're
So,
incredible.
Well, if we determined anything tonight, we determined that this is not over.
Derek, you
We are-
can't stop
And
this.
We're just
without all of you, this wouldn't happen anyway. So when you said earlier that we're missing leaders, I would disagree. That's the only thing I would disagree with.
These
I think
are the
all of
leaders.
you are rock stars and all of you are leaders, and you are what makes this happen. And the owners participating are what makes that happen, and they're all leaders. I think that
Absolutely.
everybody
That's a
participating
good
right now
point.
is a
Brave
leader.
leaders.
You are
Yeah.
changing the industry every evening.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, tonight was so great to hear Charles and Nicole talk about, it's like Live at 5. Here's what's going on in the field, you know? There you are.
No, Andrew, the kids say they gave up the tea. They're at, what is that what they say, right? My little ones downstairs they're gonna have the tea talk. They're gonna talk about what's going on.
Okay, so giving up the tea, thank you very much for just and sharing. I know you guys are exhausted and you have all these grandkids who aren't very long yet, but that's fantastic.
We're going to buy Andrew a new mic one of these days.
Please buy Andrew a new mic. You guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys, and then being a part of this has been a great privilege. And if you guys want to keep it going, you just say the word and let's just make that happen. And I'm sharing it with everybody I talk to.
I'm in.
Absolutely.
And Rodney,
I can
When I'm
say
in-
from our perspective, from James, myself, and Andrew, I think I can speak for all of us. We love all of you, and this is the reason we do it.
Sorry.
awesome.
I
And
love the
Rodney,
idea of the weekly update, Derek, like the weekly update, like today, like a platform where you kind of have the feedback of what we've been working on. What's the successes, you know?
That's a great idea.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Like the Live at 5, like this is the weekly
And-
update.
And the challenges and how
Tonight
you
was-
overcome them.
Tonight, the feature was Charles and Nicole. They had the first opening. So maybe you could, you know, foster ideas of what the features are and get a weekly topic and report back, you know?
That's a
Great
fantastic idea, Patty.
yeah.
Andrew, quick question, Andrew.
Yeah.
We've got Wednesday night, we've got who on now?
Steve Gomez.
And Friday night, we've got
And
who?
we have Bart on some very interesting email marketing techniques, which is
And
good.
is next week our
We have
technical
some,
education?
we have Mary and Philip on Wednesday, and we have Nikki French back on Friday, and Monday's Memorial Day. Mary,
Nobody's
remind you.
going anywhere.
That's
So we're
what I
definitely
thought.
keeping this going, guys. Long haul here, no shortcuts.
So anyway, that's what's coming up. And maybe next Monday, we'll see what's what. But we have to honor our Marines and soldiers for Memorial Day. That means, you know,
That means I need to go to the beach.
yeah. really.
Derek, are you still like loving the idea about like getting everyone certificates for this?
Yes, I am. So I think at the point when we probably go from 3 days to 1 day, when most of us are back to work, then we're going to get some printed out certificates for everybody that's participated. And this way they can be certified in the Beauty Business Reset education classes. And I think I think that was a great idea, by the way, Nikki. And everybody, thank you for showing up tonight. And we'll see you all Wednesday night. Anybody have any last minute things?
Thank you.
I would recommend everyone can share it as much as possible. If everyone on here can share it to like 10 people to bring more people on, I think that's really amazing.
Does anybody need my email address before we hang up?
James had it as his title. James, put it back up as your name.
I'm just checking.
I'm gonna have Phil Wilson see this T-shirt with the shaved head. I'm gonna have them do that with your email address as soon as my first haircut comes in.
And James, you got taste, brother.
Hey man, I only hang with the right people, bro.
He's vying for
Everybody
that couch
asking
position.
questions.
Hey,
You
Philip.
can follow up
Yes.
on the past video.
Gina said that he has social distanced his backyard. All the seats are 6 feet apart in the backyard. So
We'll
if we
be over.
come for cocktails, we can't go in the house.
I'm bringing this.
Well,
here.
why don't you all come to Palm Springs and look
Yes.
at blue sky and a
Yeah.
swimming pool and cocktails?
You don't have to ask us for
All
this.
I was waiting for was an invitation.
Sounds horrible,
Show y'all
Phil.
how
That
it's done.
sounds. We don't. That's
I'm
so
on the
horrible.
next
Gotta
one.
bust and
Don't
go.
be smart.
We'll pick you
Your
up.
email works from here?
That's right.
And James, come on over, brother.
Laptop
I'll be
will
waiting.
travel.
Oh, poor Angela, leaving her with the
Philip,
kids.
I just have to ask, if we come over, can you turn the mannequin heads the other way?
They're all staring at us right now.
Just make sure all the skunks are gone.
Oh, that's funny.
The skunks are
Exactly.
gone. The mama and the baby, they left.
Oh my
There,
God.
it's all clear, ready to go.
Yeah, okay. Love you guys.
Love
Thank
you
you
all.
guys for doing
Good
this.
evening.
Love you.
Everybody.
Stay
went
strong,
good to see you,
everybody. Stay
Rodney.
strong.
Philip, thank you. Thank you, buddy.
Everybody Wednesday night.
See you Wednesday.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night, Dirk. Good night,
Good
Andrew.
night. Good night, John Boy.
Stratland.
Good night, Aaron.
Hey, James,
Good night,
Madeline
Marilyn.
was using
that
your
picture
name,
behind
James.
you is from my salon.
That was you, right?
Yeah,
Last time somebody commented and they said, "Oh my God, that's my salon." But
yeah, that's my
Philip gets
salon
kick out
in
of it.
Yorktown.
I'm trying to
You
figure
like
out a way to
mine,
make it look like he's
CJ?
cutting my hair, but I'll get it worked out eventually.
Hey,
Then I'll have to
Andrew,
cut
we
my
had a
hair.
request.
Listen, he's gonna have
Somebody
to cut my
wanted
hair
to
and
see
stage
Andrew's
something.
hair.
Not
Somebody
on
was
it.
claiming it on there. There it is. Somebody on Facebook was like, I want to see Andrew's hair under there.
Andrew has plenty of it.
Lots of hair.
Lots of hair. Too much
He
hair.
said it.
God.
I hope they're still on. They got it.
Oh, God.
Good
Thank
night,
you,
guys.
guys.
Gillix, congratulations on your first day.
Yeah, really. Great triumph. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Namaste.
He's out.
Can you be